Climate change is said to be the greatest moral and scientific challenge of our time. When elected in 2007, then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd pledged to place Australia at the forefront of environmental innovation. Interestingly, he placed huge emphasis on the need to limit greenhouse gas emissions without disrupting current energy production through the use of carbon capture and storage.
For a major coal producer like Australia, finding ways to reduce carbon emissions from coal is a clear priority.
And while Kevin 07 is long gone, and the carbon tax is soon to come into force, the hallmarks of that push still remain. In creating the Global Carbon Capture and Storage Institute, and in encouraging carbon capture and storage, the Rudd government started a discussion of huge economic and environmental importance, whether carbon capture and storage can be seen as a transitional tool as we move towards a green, clean economy.
And I don't see any problem technically. I mean, the only barrier right now, in my view, is economic.
Dr. Sinha works at the Cooperative Centre for Greenhouse Gas Technologies, or CO2CRC. A joint venture based at the University of New South Wales, the CO2CRC is involved in extensive carbon capture research and development. Along with his colleagues, Dr. Sinha believes that carbon capture can be used to help prevent further climate change.
Today, I mean, nearly 80% of energy consumption comes from fossil fuels. I mean, oil, gas, and coal. And if you burn any of these, actually you emit greenhouse gases. So, but still, I mean, you need to keep using fossil fuels for a foreseeable future. So, but I mean, and then of course that we emit greenhouse gases, and then there are some research studies that link greenhouse gas emissions to global climate change. So if it is the case, so then it's better to find a solution. So then keep using fossil fuels, but prevent those greenhouse gases from emitting into the atmosphere. I mean, that is exactly the point of carbon capture and storage.
The burning of fossil fuels emits carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Carbon capture works by filtering the carbon dioxide from other gas emissions and channeling it elsewhere where it is compressed and either transported or sent via pipeline to its destination, be that for industry use or for underground storage. Dr. Sinha says that although renewable energy is a welcome addition to our power base, it is unlikely that it will be efficient enough for large-scale power projects in the near future.
There is going to be a clear increase in the use of renewable energies like solar power and wind power and other renewable energy sources, but its share in the global energy consumption is just a couple of percentage right now, and I don't think it's going to be dominating in this century, in my view.
Despite its attempts to limit greenhouse gas emissions, the carbon capture movement has found a formidable foe in the Greens, who argue that it is simply a disguise for the continued interests of the coal industry.
The Greens have been long-term opponents of carbon capture and storage because it's been unproven technology that's just sucked up so much public money, really as a justification to keep the coal industry going. And in Australia, what the Greens are saying is that all public money for carbon capture and storage should be withdrawn and put into the all-important need for governments to drive the transition to clean, green, renewable energy.
And in turn, the Greens movement has found an ally in community action groups, who have got out in numbers to campaign for the importance of not taking half measures when battling irreversible climate change.
The 100% Renewables campaign is all around using non-fossil fuels as a fuel. So the whole point being that you've got the sun and the wind and wave energy and all these amazing resources available to us that are endless and they'll never run out. So why would you then use something that you have to buy from somebody else? Somebody's making a lot of money, we have to dig this stuff out of the ground, it's dirty, it has medical problems associated with it, even in the actual extraction of coal. So, it just seems crazy. Why would you be using any of that if you can use the wind and the sun and so on for nothing?
There's no proof that carbon capture and storage technology will work. It's highly energy intensive, prohibitively costly, and there is no guarantee that when the greenhouse gas emissions are stored that can be done safely. And what I understand is that because of those three big problems, they're some of the main reasons that much of the funding is drying up for these types of experiments, and the projects are just not proceeding.
Dr. Sinha believes that in the future, the two industries will work together rather than compete to prevent climate change.
So I think both will go together, because we really need to have an answer to those the actions like global climate change, to minimize the greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere.
This is Angelo Risso for UTS News.